a game plan for that. So it's cool to have, one of Pat's brothers being like, he and I were chatting today while I was at the shop. I stepped out and sat on the steps and just chatted with him for a bit. And another just extremely kind, beautiful souled person. He sounds just like Pat. I think he's a little bit younger, but yeah, good person. So it's cool. Maybe we'll just build a little team to help support them with managing this new. Hopefully, it's
Have other family members reached out to you and wanted to get clarification and stuff like that? Have you had a chance to kind of, talk to some of the other family members too yet?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
It's been, the response hasn't all been positive, but with anything like this, you can't expect it to all be. And I'm also, I'm really sensitive to the fact that the family has been dealing with this for so much longer, right?
Yeah.
Than I've been an observer, right? But since I've been watching for 7 months, I've seen their situation go from what I would say is very bad to worse to even worse. And I'm like, I'm sure everybody's doing their very best, but there's got to be something more that we as, a community, as a bigger world can do for these people who mean so much to us,
I'm surprised there hasn't been more people trying to license his name or do things or even a book deal, like things like there's a lot of things I imagine they could still capitalize on because of his name to help generate some income as well,
for
I
sure.
imagine, I mean, I'm sure it depends on them and their want to do it, but I imagine there are opportunities.
That's right. I know that people have, of course, approached Pat with, machine cutting blanks and not letting anybody know that they're machine cut and putting his name on them. And all that you got to do is stand here and pull a screen over the rail and we'll take a picture and then we'll, and that no one will know that you didn't shape it, that kind of stuff. And everybody thinks that, that's what's best for Pat because he's, getting so old and he can't work like he used to work. So we'll help him out. But it tends to, have that kind of, it feels like it has an angle on it, like somebody's trying to get something from Pat, And so I think that Mary is especially nervous about any kind of offer like that. That's why she's afraid of people giving help because people tend to want something in return, right? And all this time that I've been talking to her, I'm just like, Mary, look, I'm not looking for anything. Just want to help you guys. Just want to help Pat. And, is it going to reflect well on me and my business if I start a GoFundMe for Pat Curren and his family who are in dire financial need? Of course. But that's not the motivation. It's like, as with anything that's what I believe, as with anything that's truly good in nature at heart, it's going to be beneficial for everybody involved. So I really believe that, the inspiration that is sprung from this campaign, the GoFundMe campaign and the post and the story and people, getting a little view into the vulnerability and the space that Pat and Mary were in, that's transformative and that's compelling and inspiring in a way that, trying to hold your cards close to your chest and pretend like everything's fine just doesn't do, right? So I have the utmost respect for them, and I believe that what they've done is very courageous.
But it's interesting because it speaks to like, how the surf world, treats or honors their legends, and obviously some some do better than others, but it is interesting. Like, we like to think that, a lot of them, end up being taken care of because of the work they put into building everything. But it's, obviously it doesn't work like that. And, there's only so much many companies can do, but it's awesome to be seeing this, like the community come together, and hopefully there's more, we have like 428 donors right now. There's got to be thousands more people who want to support this, I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
I think it's our duty as like a surf community to try to help, because we're standing on shoulders of giants, 100%.
I say that all the time, and I never felt the meaning of that quote more than after getting to know Pat. I mean, what he did, what he gave back to this community is just immense, not just to the board building community, but what he stood for the values that he never backed down on. There aren't many that sit in that category for me. And he would hate that I'm saying this, because the term gets thrown around a lot, and I think that it's actually a real shame that it does. But Pat Curren is a legend. He is like the definition of a legend. And
Paul, he's not a legend. He's a myth, man. Like, he's like surpassed it. He's like Greek mythology almost for surfing. It's like
so true. Wow. Yeah, he's like Poseidon. Yeah.
It's the story of those surfers who first went to the North Shore. A lot of it is just, it's heroic. It's obviously swashbuckling and fascinating, and they set the pattern for the modern surf lifestyle. Everything that we do is based off of what those pioneers, what those first surfers were doing, who were building that industry too.
100%, and all extremely talented in riding this antiquated surf craft that people couldn't imagine paddling out like a 40-50 pound D-fin longboard into Waimea, right? And these guys were doing it, somehow surviving, and then paddling out for another one after they went all over the falls.
No leash.
No leash, no helmet, no jacket,
life vest,
none of that stuff.
No water patrol.
So, just incredible, man. And they all thought that they were gonna die, as far as I know. That was the common sentiment. So it's also really, really interesting to note that a lot. I've heard this from Mary through Pat, that a lot of the surf lore that we've kind of inherited or been fed, that a lot of it is just extremely inaccurate, and that's what is also exciting to me whenever I get to chat with she and Pat, because I'm always like, wow, that actually is quite different than I read it in the history of surfing, or that's really not at all how I expected that character to be, or and it just speaks to how much we actually don't know, how much of it is just kind of a legend that gets passed down. And it would be so cool to be able to just spend weeks picking Pat's brain, but boy, that'll probably never happen. But yeah, it's a beautiful history, isn't it?
It is, and it's hopefully we can all come together to help support him, particularly in the sunset of his life. Basically, he's 88, but oh my God, he could probably go well into 100. I imagine that guy seems tough. So who knows? But he should
rock solid. Yeah.
But it should be comfortable, and not worried. And
that's what we think. It's just, regardless of whatever might have happened at some point, or who was offended by what, or all the difficult and sometimes like seemingly insurmountable issues that come up in families, right? Like we all have that stuff. At the end of the day, all that we're trying to do is say, like, there's a huge family out there in the world that is all connected by this funny little beautiful thing called surfing, and they want to show how much they care, that they want to support one of their own. So, boy, is that inspiring.
Yeah, it is. I still think we need universal health care and better, and all those things. But I'm not going to go political here. But no, just kidding. But it I would, I hope that this can also, maybe surfing and surf culture needs to really start looking at where a lot of our forefathers and foremothers, of surfing are today. And we need to maybe obviously, pay attention to them. And I mean, maybe it needs to be looked at. I don't know. Because I'm sure there are other legendary shapers and other legendary shapers and people who've contributed to surfing that, obviously could maybe need the community's help as well. I don't know.
Yeah, Tyler, I think that's a beautiful thought. I think that, just showing more attention to that older generation that's not on Instagram and not posting every day and, keeping us up to date on the stuff that they're going through, that, just simply checking in, and if it's a phone call or stopping by to see how these people are doing, that, that's our way of reconnecting with the past, right? Where maybe things were a bit simpler, and the joy of that simple joy of surfing and the surf lifestyle was a little bit easier to touch. So, man, it's all good stuff. I think.
And they're just, I mean, how are you holding up with all this now? Like, it's a big responsibility you've taken on. So, I mean, it's I imagine must be a lot because you're now having to manage a lot of different things.
Yeah. I made the post yesterday morning with help from Thomas LaGrega, who shot the photo of Pat, and Christabel, my girlfriend. And Thomas is in California, Christabel went to work, and I was left here thinking that I was going to go to work, and pretty quickly I realized, oh my gosh, I'm going to be staring at my phone for this entire day and not see the light of day. And it was super intense, man. I could not believe, because you're so thankful and appreciative, and you want to give everybody a sincere thank you for your donation and for thinking of Pat and Mary.
I think you've responded to almost everyone.
Tried my best. And there are all the messages as well, and people calling, and like phone conversations with people that and really high up in the surf industry, checking in, like, is this real? Is this a hoax? And all that. So having all those conversations and trying to assure people that it's all well-meaning and that all the funds are actually going to go to Pat and Mary and their family. It's definitely been like a full-time job that I didn't know that I didn't fully understand that I was signing up for when I hit post, but I'm more than happy to do it for them because they are very good people who deserve a roof over their head and space to sleep and room to breathe and relax a little bit. They've been under stress for way too long.
Well, I salute you, Paul. So where can people find the GoFundMe? At GoFundMe.org, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. At GoFundMe. I think it's GoFundMe.com. Yeah, but but if you searched it in Google, you could find it very easily. GoFundMe for Pat Curren. But it's, the name of the page is Friends of Pat Curren.